Alright, so this is the first video lesson, so we'll see kind of how it works and go from here. So I was struggling a little bit about what to kind of talk about today because I feel like at this point in the musical journey, a lot of what the focus needs to be on is the transitions between the chords. And so that's just a lot of practicing, like all the information, you just gotta practice it. And hopefully, you get more time to do that soon, but I still wanted to kind of help you along that journey a little bit. So I won't focus too much on transitions in the upcoming weeks. I'll talk a little bit about it today, but I want to start moving on and kind of teaching a little bit more. But this week I have a few maybe tips and tricks that could help with the transition aspects. So I would say the first thing is keep learning that song that we picked up. It wasn't How He Loves Us. I always forget it. It was maybe it was. I don't remember, but you probably know. So keep working on that, but I'm gonna talk about a few tips and tricks that I was researching before this video to kind of talk about a little bit. And I'm trying to position myself in a way where you can see my hands. So we have our basic shapes: C, G, D, and E minor. A few tricks. A lot of the videos that I pulled up were saying a few different things, and so I'm kind of combining all of those together and trying to find a new way to teach this that might help push along. So the one thing I think that would be really helpful, because we did it once in a lesson, was set your metronome. You can find metronome videos online. You can also find them like YouTube, or if you have an app for that, you can use the app too. But set a metronome at a good pace and just transition between your chords, going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just practice that, right? What we did that one time was that we started at a comfortable pace and then we bump it up 10 BPM. So then it would be more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then do that once or twice, get comfortable with it, bump it up another 10 BPM, go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just keep bumping it up. I'd say 10 BPM, and just keep doing that faster and faster and faster until your fingers just become a mess and you actually can't. What I noticed when we did that the first time is that you seemed to work pretty well under that pressure of the fast increase of everything. And so I think for you that might be something that's good, rather than sticking with a slower thing and really nailing that down, which you want to do, obviously. But I think that pressure aspect can help you specifically learn that a little bit quicker. So that's the first thing I would say, is do that. Now, a few other things that I did some research on was a technique and then a strategy, basically. So the technique is kind of there's two parts to it. So the first was called bouncing. Basically, take a shape, say your D shape, and don't even necessarily play it, but just take your shape and bounce it on and off of the strings. What this does is creates muscle memory so that you know the chord shape. Because if you don't have that muscle memory in the first place, then you're gonna have to take a lot more time to simply just think about where to go next, rather than focusing on how you get there, if that makes sense. So just bounce, and you can do the same with any shape. C, G. It's just getting comfortable with that shape. E minor, D, C, G. You can just focus on bouncing those chords. The next part of that is to kind of freeze in the air, not in the sense of taking your time and being slow about it, but what you want to do is you want to bounce off of your shape, move to your next position. So say we're going from C, you if I can show this better, C, you lift up, move your next position, then bounce back on to your strings. Does that make sense? So you're kind of bouncing off, moving, or rather shifting, you could call it, and then bouncing on, if that makes sense. So from C to D, you would just bounce off, shift, bounce on, D. And that kind of is just a way of breaking it down so you can think about it mentally. And those two parts combined can, I think, hopefully help the transition make a little bit more sense and go smoother. And then another thing that I found was have a direct focus. So maybe you set a timer on your phone for 1 minute, something manageable, achievable, and just for 1 minute you focus on one transition. Say you want to go, say you're really struggling with transitioning from E minor to D, maybe, for an example, whatever you feel fits what you're struggling with. For that 1 minute, as much as you can, just practice that bounce and shift back and forth, so that you're really focusing on that one thing. You're not worrying about all 4 chords, you're not worrying about transitioning all the different possibilities with all 4 chords. You're just working on E minor and D and that one transition back and forth. Again, do that with whatever chords you need to. And just like if you were to work out, you can do reps and different sets, so you can do, maybe you do it for 1 minute, you take a little break for your fingers, grab water or whatever, and then you come back and you do it for another minute. And maybe you try to do that 3 times or whatever. Or each minute you do a different transition. So first minute could be E minor to D. Maybe the second minute you're just focusing on C to D. And then do something else the next minute. And the point of that, again, is to have one direct focus, because sometimes, especially with guitar, there's so much involved in thinking of it and playing it, so many different aspects and dynamics, that it can get overwhelming and you feel a little bit like you're just trying to tread water and keep your head above it, when there's a lot to learn, and you're like, wait, I'm still learning this part. And so what I'm trying to do is not leave you to drown in more information, but help you to kind of get your bearings a little bit and get on your own feet, and then give you more information to keep working on. So I'm trying to find that balance in between that. So yeah, just to reiterate everything, bouncing, where you're just taking one shape and you're bouncing on and off the strings. It's the point of it is to just get your fingers comfortable and used to it, and get the muscle memory there, so that you're not thinking about where you're going next, but rather you're just worrying about getting there, you know? And then the next is bounce off, shift, bounce on. Bounce off, shift, bounce on. And then just for 1 minute, something small and attainable, just focus on one thing at a time. And with repetition, you know, if 1 minute is all you can dedicate to in a day, 1 minute before you go to bed or whatever, then it's still practice and it's still very valuable, and you're still learning something. I would say at least pick up your guitar and just touch it, because if you do that at least, then you'll probably practice for a little bit, even if you don't have a lot of time, you know. Maybe it's just at the end of the day and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna pick up my guitar for literally just 1 minute and then I'm gonna go to bed. I don't know, just an idea. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was the distance between your hand and the fretboard. So when you're transitioning, what you want to do is keep your hand fairly close to the fretboard. We don't want when you're transitioning, and obviously that is a huge exaggeration. But the point there is to keep the distance pretty small, because the greater distance you have between your finger and the fretboard, the more time it takes to get there. And so, you know, you don't want to overdo that. You kind of just want to keep it just hovering slightly over, so where it's not going like way out here. It's just, you know, you're staying in this one general area, so you don't have to move around a lot.
Sorry.
Alright, sorry about that, my dad had to get something. Yeah, so those are the main points I had for today. Hopefully those are helpful, and hopefully you have time to practice all those and just make those small commitments at least once a day, or, you know, whenever you can find time. Next week, I'll probably start teaching some, I'm thinking right now, either new set of chords or maybe a new song that you can practice with, but I'll think about it this next week, and yeah, so focus on all of that, and I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, just text me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hope that was helpful, and I'll send my Venmo with the video so you can get that. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you.